And in heading over to Kenosha, he meets not with local business owners, because that's what Trump did, right? He met with the people who were actually victimized in Kenosha. And when I say actually victimized, I am specifically saying there is no evidence to suggest that Jacob Blake was, quote unquote, victimized by the police. That is called a justified shooting. It doesn't matter to Joe Biden, though. Okay, but Joe Biden is saying mush-mouth crazy words, right? He says, this is the first chance in a generation to cut a slice off institutional racism. There's so many contradictions here. First of all, I don't know what the hell he means. Second of all, wasn't he vice president like 4 years ago? Why wasn't that an operation? Why wasn't that an opportunity to cut a slice off institutional racism? Hasn't he been in government his entire adult life? Didn't he enter Congress? Didn't he enter the Senate at age 30? Right? And he's now 97 years old. So why is, like, what is he, like, this is, I'm sorry, this is so evidence-free and so contrary to any shred, any iota of logic that it boggles the mind. Here's Joe Biden saying a silly thing.
This is the first chance we've had in a generation, in my view, to deal and cut another slice off institutional racism toward getting to the place where it changes. And by the way, the main reason why I'm optimistic, because of your generation, Black, white, Hispanic, and Asian American. Did you ever think you'd turn on a TV? You're much younger than I am, but you're a little older than she is. Did you ever think you'd turn on the TV and roughly 2 out of 3 ads would be biracial couples selling a product?
What in the world is this? What is this old coot talking about? I mean, really, what is this old coot talking about? Did I ever turn on the TV and think that we'd see the middle of Melrose Avenue shut down by Antifa while people in the media cheer? I didn't think that. Okay, but the real story of Biden's visit to Kenosha, after all, was the fact that he is a doddering old fool. I mean, he just is. I'm sorry. He says silly things all the time. It is completely ignored. How bad was this? Apparently, the questioners here were being handed scripts. Not kidding. Okay, I'm not alleging this. One of the questioners is alleging this. So here's a young woman from Kenosha, a young black woman from Kenosha, and she literally gets up and she says, I was told to read from this piece of paper, but I'm going to ask you an actual question. Who gave her a piece of paper and told her to read from a piece of paper to Joe Biden? I mean, Joe Biden was pretty much reading from a script the entire time because he cannot be allowed off the script. No wonder Nancy Pelosi doesn't want him to debate Trump. No wonder Nancy Pelosi doesn't want him to debate Trump. No wonder Nancy Pelosi doesn't want him to debate Trump. Here's this woman basically letting the cat out of the bag here.
I'm just going to be honest, Mr. Biden. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't. You need the truth. And the truth of the matter is we are heavily angry.
Okay, so the fact that he's handing people scripts to read to him, wow. And you can see why, because here are some more of the wonderful moments from this Kenosha visit. He literally stops in the middle of explaining his tax plan and says, they'll shoot me. Not a great look here, old Joe.
I'm not going to punish anybody, but everybody should pay a fair share. And I can lay out for you, I won't now because they'll shoot me. But here's the deal.
Oh, God.
I pay.
They'll shoot me. Yeah, Joe, not the best joke given the circumstances. Earlier in the day, the Biden campaign, speaking of race baiting, released an ad. And it is perhaps the most disingenuous and misleading political ad I've ever seen in my life. Here's how that went.
Why in this nation do Black Americans wake up knowing that they could lose their life in the course of just living their life? Now is the time for racial justice.
Now is the time for racial justice, he says, at the age of 78. After spending like 5 decades in public service. Now is the time? It wasn't before, Joe? You're just deciding right now is the time? I mean, you've just now decided that white supremacist police officers are out murdering black people in droves, and we should stop them? Did you not want to stop them before? Or did you only recently decide that this problem existed? If so, what made you decide that, Joe?
Okay, and then Joe Biden teaches us history. And honestly, he should know the history better than this because he was around when the light bulb was invented. He actually interned in Thomas Edison's office, apparently. But here is Joe Biden radically botching American history because, again, he is not good at this at all.
People fear that which is different. We gotta, for example, why in God's name don't we teach history in history classes? A black man invented the light bulb, not a white guy named Edison. Okay? There's so much. Did anybody know before what's recently happened?
No, that's not true. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not. I mean, Thomas Edison did invent the light bulb. Louis Latimer is the person he's talking about, and he perfected the carbon filament. Which is an important thing, but you don't have to be like, Thomas Edison didn't exist. He was a figment of our imagination. It was actually a black man who invented the light bulb. Wasn't it like enough to, like the carbon filament's pretty important. They were using, what, platinum filaments before that, which would have been super duper expensive? Tungsten. So that's like an important thing. I feel like that's important enough you don't have to rewrite the history. At a certain point, he's like, we should talk about black contributions to white American life. If he wants to talk about black contributions to white American life, he is example 1A of a white man who has benefited from a black man, okay? Joe Biden would be an obscure, no-name, ridiculous, much-mocked senator from Delaware if it were not for the fact that Barack Obama plucked him from obscurity and made him his VP. Would this guy be a presidential candidate? Are you kidding me? He'd run like 83 times in the past and couldn't get more than 2.5 votes. And they were all members of his family.